Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good everybody. How's everybody doing? Happy 4th of July weekend. Also, it is NBA Finals week. So we have the finals coming in. Welcome to another edition of Homie Picks. We haven't done this in a while, and we haven't done this since the playing games, actually. It's been kind of tough to record, with one series may end, another one may begin, and so it's kind of, our schedules, it's kind of tough. People, we do try to reach out, as much as we can to do this. I had hand surgery, so I was definitely under the weather, and so forth. So it's been a challenge, but even with surgery, we still doing this. We still doing these picks for you. Lou, how you been?
I've been good, man. Can't complain too much. Summer's here, baseball's around. We can't really talk about our Yankees right now. We're not looking good. But good playoff run. I'm liking what I saw in the playoffs. Some good energy. The teams we thought would be here are not here. Some shockers along the way. Some trials and tribulations for some teams. Injuries playing a big role. So all in all, I kind of like this finals matchup.
Yeah, it's been an interesting playoffs to say the very least. If you look, I remember seeing the Twitter, thing, like you literally had an entire all-star team of people that were injured. In terms of actually people who were in the all-star game this year, also, they could fill up a whole roster that was injured. It's pretty crazy. Of course, I have my Nets winning it all. We did talk about this actually on episode on a WND. Please check that out on our Knicks Nets thing. But next season we're gonna come back. Next season the Knicks are gonna come back. So our boys will be right back in the thick of it all. But in the meantime, we are here to talk about the finals, which means we are here to talk about the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks, the two teams that not many people thought would be a finals matchup at the fuck all, but here we are. Are you surprised by the finals?
Honestly, I'm surprised Milwaukee made it. I didn't think their offense would hold up. But Chris Middleton put them on their back. Drew Holiday shot. They played good team ball. Phoenix was a team that everyone slept on, I think, coming out of the West. And, everyone was picking the two LA teams, and sure enough, Phoenix beat both LA teams to get to the finals. So kudos to them. I think Phoenix has the right recipe. They built it the right way. Same thing Milwaukee can be said. They built that team the right way through trades, through development of their own players. So it's a great story for the NBA to see these two teams in there. It wasn't the prototypical signed free agents and super teams battling it out. Even though I think we should still see who would win out of those super teams. Have a side playoff with the Nets versus Lakers, and let's see who wins that in the 7-game series. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I think Chris Paul's time has finally come. 16 years in the making. He's literally aged like fire and wine. So Antetokounmpo, he had a lot of pressure on himself to get his team over the hump over the Eastern Conference Finals. He never passed that hump. It sucks that he didn't get to partake in it in those last couple games. But I'm looking forward to see what he does in the finals. This is pretty much a make or break series for both these players.
It definitely is. Of course, this is a surprise for me to see Milwaukee in there. They took advantage, like I said, injuries aside, they took advantage of what the opportunities were. And that goes for any team that played. Atlanta, because even that Atlanta-Milwaukee series, nobody thought Atlanta would be Philadelphia. Except anybody who watched the Doc Rivers coach team. But Atlanta was dead to rights. They should have lost that series, but injuries play a part into that. At the same time, Milwaukee, they went against KD and a one-leg James Harden. I still am mad at Giannis for injuring Kyrie because he literally planted himself right under his landing. So I'm not gonna forgive him for that one. But
That's two stars he's taking out. He took out Porzingis and he took out Kyrie.
Actually, and he tried to take out Trae Young in game one in Eastern Conference Finals. So Giannis is going on a roll, man. He's like, he'll take everybody out. I mean, then he got hurt, so that's unfortunate for Milwaukee fans. But I don't foresee him actually coming back. Like that's the same kind of injury Chris Bosh had, and it took him a long time to get back and get right. And the way that he plays, I don't really see if he does try to come back, I don't see him being really an impact to that. But Phoenix, I didn't know who was coming out of the West, to be honest. I thought Phoenix had a chance. I never gave Utah respect.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I thought there was like a fluke number one anyway. But as soon as Phoenix swept Denver, I said, "Oh yeah, they're taking it. Like they're going to the finals." And I was ready thinking Phoenix, Brooklyn after that. And then that didn't happen. But as long as Phoenix was in there, I was like, yeah, like they're on the team for mission. And Chris Paul, luckily for him, he has the right cast around him. Booker, Ayton, Crowder's back-to-back years in the finals, with Miami and now Phoenix. So he might be the key to all these things now.
Right.
Hopefully a better result than last year. It's like he has the cast that he needs to have. Like this is not Lob City. He has a straight shooter and Book. Ayton is playing his size and dominating. And even if Giannis was healthy, I still think Ayton and Giannis would be a great matchup to see in the finals. But the two teams that are here, I definitely say Phoenix definitely deserve to be in there. Of course, we would have loved to see Kawhi and PG versus Chris Paul and Booker. But the two teams that deserve to be there, they are there. Kudos to both teams. Hats off to them. Phoenix though is the favorite to win it all, and I think that may be because of Giannis being injured. Phoenix right now is a minus 175 favorite. Milwaukee is plus 140. So if you bet 100, you get 140 from that. So you win a total of 240. Right now, game one, to start it all off, Phoenix is a 5.5 point favorite. Do you think Phoenix is going to cover that, or do you think Milwaukee will?
I definitely can see Phoenix covering 5.5. Phoenix is the healthiest team going into the finals. Literally the healthiest team from top to bottom. They run like a good 9-man rotation. All 9 are healthy. Milwaukee, even though they beat Atlanta in 6, it was a tough 6 games. The Nets pushed them to 7. Phoenix only had, I think, 4 losses in the entire playoffs, if I'm right. 4 or 5. Right, 4 losses. So they made it through the trials. Your best attribute is your availability, and I think Phoenix has that going into the finals. I'm not sure who has home court. Phoenix has home court as well.
Phoenix, because Phoenix was the best team. Well, they tied with Utah for the best record in the NBA, 51.
Yeah, Chris Paul is that one player that you put him on a team and he literally makes every other player better on the floor. And there's not many players that can do that literally enhances all the other players' attributes around him. I think 5.5 is pretty much easy to cover. They have the most rest, most health going into it. It's an easy cover with Phoenix with a 5.5.
Yes.
Yeah, for the same reasons you said, I definitely think Phoenix, especially in game one, they're definitely going to cover that 5.5. This team is playing with a whole mission, and these young guys, I think they listen to the old heads when they realize, because I watched. It's funny because I was watching the 30 for 30 with Orlando, and it was talking. And I remember Shaq and them were talking about youth versus experience, and the Orlando team, they're thinking we're going to be back. And the Houston team is thinking we may never come back again. So you play like it's like this is going to be it. And I think, the leap that Booker took this year, of course, it had everything to do with Chris Paul. I think this team would have, of course, I don't think this team would even be where it's at without Chris Paul.
No.
Even they did good. They did good
In the bubble last year,
in the
yeah.
bubble, going 8-0. But honestly, in the bubble, everybody was having like padded, like not in the padded stuff, but they was going like Super Saiyan.
You're playing on neutral ground.
You're playing neutral ground.
No travel.
Yeah, it's Jamal Murray was going for 50 every night. Like, like come on now. Like, let's be real here. So, like, everybody was having like inflated numbers and so forth during the bubble. But the fact that Chris Paul came in and he put this team on his back. Booker listened. Ayton has responded well. Like you said, and I think everybody want to give the title to LeBron about best, the best player, the best leader, and so forth. That to me is Chris Paul, because every team Chris Paul goes on, you actually see the players that actually get better. Like LeBron to me turns everybody to a spot shooter.
Right.
Like Chris actually empowers his team to get better. Like Steven Adams, he's putting pressure on multiple people. Even the Oklahoma City team last year, nobody thought they went to the playoffs. And last year. I thought they was going to the playoffs 2 years ago, whatever that was.
No, they went last year.
Yeah, and he took them there. Like, so people listen to his voice and they say he's an acquired taste, but clearly people do accept his his taste values. So pause. But so we definitely agree on Phoenix, covering that 5.5.
Yeah.
In terms of the whole series, do you think Milwaukee comes out on top as a champ, or do you think it's going to be Phoenix?
I think it's going to be Phoenix. I see Phoenix winning it in 5. They may have that one game where they let their guard down. They've had one game like that where they walked into it and they got shellacked. And I think it was Chris Paul's first game back. So after that, they corrected their issues and they got it going. I see Phoenix taking this in 5.
Yeah.
Milwaukee may get one at home. I don't see them winning one in Phoenix. They might get Antetokounmpo back. I see game 2 or 3 maybe. Definitely, I don't see him getting back in game 1. But I think one of the most underrated thing is Phoenix is coaching too. Monty Williams is coaching at a high level. Like, shout out to Tibbs for winning Coach of the Year, but the Coach of the Year should have been Monty Williams. Yeah. If you look at his full book of work over the course of the year with Phoenix, like, no one was talking about Phoenix middle of the year. They were an afterthought. They were middle of the pack team. And then they took off in the second half and claimed that number 2 spot, which some teams, shied away from. Some teams didn't want that number 2 spot because you had LA, they had the Lakers at the bottom half of the bracket there. So you were trying to stay away from them. We saw the Clippers, fall back and fall into that number 3 or 4 seed. So they didn't have to, the 4 seed, so they didn't have to pay LA first or second round. They wanted to push that off to later on in the Western Conference Finals. So Phoenix all around, I think, is built to just win this title right now. And, they got the blueprint, young players developing through the draft, smart trades. Shout out to James Jones, brand new GM. Got the executive of the year. And, when they traded for Chris Paul, everyone was stuck on that first round pick they gave up. Like, why would they give up that first round pick for Chris Paul? They ain't going to need it. That's why they're not going to need it. What they traded Chris Paul for, there's 28 other teams that would trade Chris Paul for that. I definitely see Phoenix winning this in probably 5 games.
Yeah, for me, I can see the same thing. I want to say Phoenix in 6.
Yeah.
But I definitely say Phoenix in 5. It's just something about, I always go back to this old Joakim Noah comment when he said about Cleveland, when he said it's so boring there, no one wants to be there. I feel the same way about Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Because
Yeah.
everybody who goes to Milwaukee, they just can't play basketball. It seems like we'll have slow starts and so forth. Like it's something about Milwaukee's atmosphere that's just so dry that
I mean,
no team better play them.
Drew Holiday has been a factor, but he hasn't been the X factor. Like he
Right.
has shown that he's an elite point guard that can dribble, score, and assist. So
Right.
yeah.
And of course, if you're gonna go, especially in the backcourt, Chris Paul and Booker is way better than Drew Holiday and anybody the fuck else they put out there.
Yeah, I don't even know who starts at the 2 for them. Like it doesn't.
Can't even tell you who does that. And then Crowder's probably gonna be matched up against
Middleton.
And honestly, Crowder can body him on that one.
Right.
And then Ayton, it doesn't matter who you throw in. Ayton's going to get his. I think the only person who can defensively, give him maybe a test in terms of just the size would be Giannis because of mobility. But and you can throw anybody on Lopez. Like I love Lopez. He's a former net, but at the same time, all he does is take long range threes. He really gets in the paint. He doesn't really use his size too much. And even if he does use his size, Ayton is still that big body that's going to get him anyway.
And this Phoenix team runs. They run it up down the court. So Milwaukee has a lot of big bodies on there that are not used to running. We got the glimpse of the Nets trying to run, but you had James Harden on one leg. Had that team been healthy enough so they could run,
that'd have been
Milwaukee, Milwaukee would have run out of the gym. Then Atlanta doesn't really run like that. Atlanta's more of a 3-and-D kind of team where they'll kill you from the 3-point line, but Phoenix runs. They get a rebound and everyone's head is turned up and running up the court. Even Ayton coming up the rear, pause there. They run. So I don't see Lopez staying in the game long. I think I see Milwaukee trying to match up small ball with them, and then you're just going to get destroyed because
Phoenix is not doing it. Sorry.
Yeah, Phoenix just has too many weapons, and they play well together. Like you literally know who's leading that team when they're on there. If Chris Paul's on the bench, Book's on there leading them. Cameron Payne, he came out of left field. He's the best backup point guard in the league right now. Dropping 20 to 30 and then going right back to the bench and sitting down for a game and coming back and dropping another 8 because they don't need him. So Phoenix is probably the best built team that made it through the playoffs.
I think I saw a stat. I don't know if I remember correctly. I'll say this much. I think it says something. This is James Jones's 8th straight NBA Finals.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's of course as going as player and as
executive.
But that's a great feat. Like my man's on some LeBron numbers right now. But two other tidbits to this finals. I don't know if everybody remembers. Does everybody remember out there? Maybe I should pause after I ask this question before you actually hear the answer. But does anybody remember who Chris Paul's rookie coach was? Luke?
Monty Williams.
Hey, look where we at now.
Yep.
That's a full circle right there, man. And then also both the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks both entered the NBA in 1968. So this is kind of a destined finals. The two expansion teams that made it into that are now going against each other. And Phoenix going for their first chip. Milwaukee got theirs back in the 70s. So this is going to be kind of great. Last but not least, any idea who you want to put your money on for Finals MVP? Chris Paul right now is the leader at plus 170. Booker at plus 270. Giannis at plus 350. Middleton at 650. Holiday at 1,000. And Ayton at 2,500.
It's gonna be Paul or Booker. But my X factor is DeAndre Ayton. I think he's poised to have a monster series. If Antetokounmpo is not playing, there's not a big man on Milwaukee that can stop him. So if I'm Phoenix, giving him the ball nice and early, good and plenty, and let him do his thing. So yeah, DeAndre Ayton probably my X factor for NBA's Final MVP.
I think it's going to be Booker. I think Booker might actually get it. But here's my criteria for Booker to actually get it. He needs to average 28 and 5. Either if he does 28 and 5, I think he may get it. If he has a couple 40-point games, he's definitely going to get it.
Yeah.
I think Ayton has a chance, but I think if Ayton averages 20, I want to say 20. If he does 20 and 15, if he does 20 and 15, and Chris Paul has maybe a couple like dud games, and by dud, it's probably like 13, 8 and 8 kind of game.
Right.
Then I think, and Ayton's numbers show like that, then I think Ayton probably has a good chance at it. But I mean, Chris Paul is probably, he is the favorite for a reason. He is a superstar. He is the man that has been winning his whole life for this moment. So you definitely know he's going to show off and show out. It's his first finals. Like I said, I got this. I found my only orange shirt, the only orange shirt that I own. I found that. So, I'm going for Phoenix on this one. Shout out to one of my boys, Gus. He is a real Phoenix Suns fan.
They do exist. They do exist. They
do exist, and they do exist in New York. Like he is the only one that I know that is actually a Phoenix Suns fan. So I'm really happy for him. For him to see this moment, and get there. He's still wilding out. I'm pretty sure he'll be flying at the Phoenix for the championship parade when they get it. But, and maybe next year, it'll be Knicks next conference finals, and then we can all go to a game, bro.
What? So with that.
But until then, baseball season is still going on, as we said. We really ain't caring too hard right now. When the playoffs come, we'll start getting, start rolling out some content for that. Football season is almost here. The Lightning, probably by the time this airs, will probably have swept Montreal. So, and even if they didn't sweep them, I find that really hard for Montreal to come back 3-0 against Tampa Bay. So congrats to the Tampa Bay Lightning. You have a football championship and a hockey championship in 2021. So congrats to that. May y'all not win anything else for the rest of your careers.
Well, but baseball, if they win the World Series, they got
shit, man, the triple crown.
Got a triple crown.
Oh man, you know what? If Toronto would have won, they would have had all four. Because it's a Toronto Raptors of Tampa, so they could have had it. They could have had it, but they were bad this year. But so that's us wrapping up. Homie picks. It's gonna be our final one for basketball. We will come back at you for baseball and football. Enjoy the summer, y'all. Be safe. Lou, my brother. Catch you.